What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Bobby G, and we back with another reaction video. Today we're gonna react to a different type of video. This one's called The Tragic Death of Bernie Mac. I've seen a couple of movies with Bernie Mac in them. Mainly like the Friday one. He's in a few other movies though. But yeah, that's what the video is gonna be on. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for your boy. Hit the like button. Drop up in the comments, and let's see what this video is about. All right, Tragic Death of Bernie Mac.
The real Bernie Mac stories, and I know that the people that made money off Bernie Mac didn't like him. They hated his guts, and that was our king. But I turned it down. Why? Because you shit on Bernie, and I know the truth. You think I'm gonna let you shit on Bernie and then come get me? And now that he gone, you gonna act like he wanted to be a movie star. You stop it. You stop it. That man was funnier than all of y'all, and y'all thought y'all had one over on him.
Hey man, that hurt him, man. It really did, man, because you know it was from nowhere, man. It's just, and he, you know, they put him in a compromising position that he really didn't want to be in. And so, you know.
So right when Bernie had proven his point, and right when Bernie showed everybody who he actually was, and curtain scene.
Bernie Mac was the king of comedy, and his career seemed unstoppable. But his sudden passing at 50 years old has led to lots of speculation. A month before his sudden passing, on July 12, 2008, Bernie Mac appeared at a private fundraiser for then-presidential candidate Obama in Chicago. The crowd was filled with donors who had paid $2,300 per ticket. But Bernie refused to tone down his comedy style to appease the crowd. He launched into the usual straight-talking comedic style he was famous for, and nothing was off limits. He joked that having a black first lady is different. You're still going to have to do the dishes and the laundry and all that. And then went on to refer to women as hoes. Offended audience members began heckling.
Bro, in front of the president. Yeah, that shit is funny, I ain't gonna lie, but damn, in front of the president's fucking, that's crazy.
Him, telling him to get off the stage. He said that although he was born a Democrat, I'm a Republican at tax time, which the audience of Democratic donors did not find amusing. When Obama finally came onto the stage, he also admonished Bernie for his act, stating, "We can't afford to be divided by religion, or by region or class, or by gender," and added, "That means, by the way, Bernie, you got to clean up your act. This is a family affair." After the fundraiser ended, the Obama campaign officially issued a statement clarifying that Obama did not condone Mac's statements, referring to them as inappropriate. Even in front of a presidential candidate and
Bro, is there a video of this? I actually want to go back and watch it later.
Crowd full of donors, Bernie refused to tone down his act to fit in. Right up until the end, he was fearless.
I ain't scared of you, mother.
Fame and success had not corrupted Bernie, and at the time, Bernie seemed unstoppable, with his career going from success to success. But a month later, Bernie Mac would be dead. At just 50 years old, the comedy legend suddenly passed away. His sudden death shocked the comedy world and has led to all sorts of theories over what actually happened to him.
You know, and then when they sit there and they play psychological blackmail with you.
In this video, we will discuss Bernie Mac's life and his final days, and reveal the true cause of his death. Born Bernard Jeffrey McCullough on October 5, 1957 in Chicago, Illinois, Bernie Mac grew up with humble beginnings on the south side of Chicago. He was raised in a large, loving family, being one of several children. His father abandoned the family when Bernie was young, causing them great financial difficulties. His mother, Mary McCullough, did her best to provide for Bernie and his siblings as a single mom. Bernie's grandfather was a revered deacon at the local Baptist church, where religion and faith were pillars of the family's life. They ended up living above a Baptist church as their old housing was torn down. Even at a young age.
Bipolar 1, I got help to push back.
So bro was struggling early in life.
Bernie's talent for comedy and impersonations was evident. He would often use comedy to cheer up his mother. And when Bernie was just 8 years old, he entertained the church congregation by imitating his grandparents' mannerisms and speech at the dinner table. The church roared with laughter and applause. Bernie realized then he could make people smile through humor and laughter. However, Bernie's childhood was struck with tragedy in his adolescent years. When Bernie was young, he accidentally stumbled upon his mother leaving the shower. He noticed that her chest had a large scar on it from a surgery. His mother angrily told him to go away.
And she said, "Close the door."
Bernie then asked his grandmother what was wrong with his mother's chest. His grandmother replied that Bernie should ask his mother later. Later that day, Bernie questioned his mother, but she refused to answer.
I knocked on the door. My mother was dressed. She said, "Now what is it you want to ask me, son?" And I said, "Mom, what's wrong with your chest?" She said, "It's none of your business."
Soon after this, when Bernie was 16 years old, his beloved mother passed away after a battle with cancer. He was distraught, but discovered that his mother had left a long letter to him to be read after her passing. In that letter, she explained
R.I.P.
in detail why she kept it a secret and praised Bernie, telling him he would go on to do great things.
And she had in a letter, "Don't worry about Bernie. Bernie's going to pass everybody."
A year after his mother's passing, his older brother suddenly passed away from a heart attack. And soon after this, his estranged father passed away from kidney failure.
Bro,
This was followed by his grandmother also passing away in short succession.
Bro, what the fuck, bro? Literally everyone was just passing for him. That's tough.
It was a heartbreaking time for the young Bernie. Dealing with this tremendous grief, Bernie turned to comedy as an escape and a way to heal. He wanted to bring laughter to audiences during times when there wasn't much to laugh about.
My grandfather, when he passed away at the funeral, it was real, black funeral.
2002. This is the year I was born.
To be born and stuff, I got up and I performed for
Quality and everything doesn't look too bad.
like an hour, 45 minutes.
How old were you?
Wow, I was in my 20s.
Really?
And everyone after that, was like, "Man, that was deep. That was cool. You broke it." So when every time somebody died, they called me.
To support himself financially, Bernie worked various jobs around Chicago, including as a delivery driver and factory worker. But he continued developing his true passion on the side, stand-up comedy. Bernie started mimicking humorous impressions and telling jokes on the Chicago public transportation for spare change. 1977 was a decisive year for both Bernie's personal and professional life. In his personal life, the 19-year-old Bernie married his high school sweetheart Rhonda Gore, who stuck by his side as he struggled to make it big. 30 years later, Rhonda would remain by Bernie's side, talking to him while he lay dying.
And I remember telling him, I said, "Oh, please don't die. Please don't die." I said, "I'm here. I'm waiting for you. I'll take care of you. Just don't die. Don't die."
Early on, Rhonda provided immense personal support, while Bernie spent years developing his voice as one of Chicago's up-and-coming young comics. That same year, in 1977, Bernie also joined the competitive Chicago Comedy Club circuit. The city had a vibrant and competitive comedy scene, which proved to be a rigorous training ground for Mac. He quickly joined the competitive and provided immense personal support.
Bro, if you actually seen the rest of this whole video, the people who are taking the pictures right here tell this little boy to sit on his lap, and this nigga Bernie's like, "Nah."
While Bernie spent years developing his voice,
He's like, "Nah, bro, I ain't having none of that shit."
as one of Chicago's up-and-coming young comics. That same year, in 1977, Bernie also joined the competitive Chicago Comedy Club circuit. The city had a vibrant and competitive comedy scene, which proved to be a rigorous training ground for Mac. He quickly gained a local following with his sharp wit and captivating storytelling style that drew from his
We believe your credit score isn't a reflection of you.
experiences. Bernie struck a chord with audiences by telling it like it is. They loved his edginess, rawness, and authenticity. His vernacular and unique language made him hilarious, yet also relatable. For years, he worked at his craft. His comedy style eventually caught the attention of veteran black comedians like Red Fox and Slappy White, who helped Bernie by inviting the young comic to perform in Las Vegas in 1989. The next year, Bernie's comedy career took off as he won the Miller Lite Comedy Search, the biggest comedy competition in Chicago at the time. This rocketed him to wider prominence. Bernie performed outrageously provocative yet humorous routines to captivate the judges. His unfiltered brand of comedy became his trademark. Around this time in the early 1990s, Bernie got his big break when he performed on the HBO variety show Def Comedy Jam. This show was crucial in showcasing African American comedians to a broader audience and was a stepping stone for many comedians' careers. Mac's appearance on Def Comedy Jam is often remembered for his fearless performance, where he famously took control of an initially resistant audience by declaring, "I ain't scared of you."
I ain't scared of you, mother. I'm gonna tell you something straight off the mother press. I ain't coming for no foolishness.
This line became a catchphrase and a testament to his bold approach to comedy. But Bernie Mac's biggest breakthrough came after the massive success of Spike Lee's 2000 film, The Original Kings of Comedy. This featured performances from Bernie Mac alongside comedians Steve Harvey, D.L. Hewley, and Cedric the Entertainer. The film made over $38 million and skyrocketed Bernie to national fame. Bernie's set in particular was a standout in this film. His charisma and his ability to captivate the audience with his straight-talking stories about his family life brought him critical acclaim. His performance was not only hilarious but also emotionally resonant, showcasing his talent for turning personal experiences into comedy. Capitalizing on his fame from Kings of Comedy, Fox took a chance on Bernie Mac with his own self-titled sitcom in 2001. The Bernie Mac Show depicted fictional events from Bernie's life as a stand-up comedian suddenly burdened with caring for his sister's kids. The show quickly became one of Fox's most popular sitcoms and ran for 5 seasons, even winning an Emmy.
Hey! Bernie, man, I ain't ate in 2 weeks.
Bro, this look like Everybody Hates Chris, like one of those types of shows.
Brother?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Just 2.
Hey, it's been so long, brother, I forgot what food tastes like anymore.
Man, you know what? I wouldn't even worry about it.
No, why not?
Because it still tastes the same.
Oh, you dead great mother.
By the time it was canceled in 2006, Bernie was a household name. Around this time, Bernie also leveraged this momentum to land major Hollywood movie roles. He demonstrated a versatility as an actor that surpassed just comedy. His breakout role was in 2001's Ocean's 11 ensemble, featuring alongside A-listers like George Clooney and Brad Pitt. He would go on to appear in other hit films such as Charlie's Angels, Bad Santa, and Transformers. Bernie's comedy chops, magnetic presence, and improvisational instincts made him a scene stealer. With both TV sitcom and feature film credits to his name as lead actor.
Bro, Bernie, I didn't even realize Bernie Mac was in the first Transformers. Transformer 1 and 2 they gotta be the best ones, bro.
Bernie Mac had cemented his status as one of the most popular African-American comedic stars of his era. But no matter how successful he became, Bernie continued working as hard as ever on his projects. At the same time as all of these TV and film appearances, Bernie never quit doing live shows, touring extensively nearly all year around. After growing up struggling in poverty, he never took his success for granted. He felt pressure to continue pushing his body to the limits, to please his fans. And after going from success to success, Bernie's career seemed unstoppable. But in the end, Bernie's career would be tragically cut short by his own body betraying him. For years behind the scenes, Bernie had struggled with health issues. Although he smoked, Bernie's friends report that he barely drank and did not use any other substances. His health issues were instead caused by bad luck. In 1983, when Bernie was in his mid-20s pursuing a career in stand-up comedy, he started developing breathing issues and eventually collapsed with extreme fatigue and breathlessness. After collapsing, Bernie was diagnosed with a little-known autoimmune disease called sarcoidosis. Its cause is unknown, but is thought to have a genetic component. For African Americans like Bernie, sarcoidosis tends to be more aggressive and harder to treat. This disease is an inflammatory lung disease, and it causes inflammation as the immune system attacks the body's own tissues. This can severely impact the body's organs and tissues over time. This inflammation reduces lung capacity and makes breathing difficult. Bernie often suffered with breathlessness as a result. However, despite this devastating diagnosis, Bernie refused to rest and continued to push through, working as hard as ever on his comedy. To try and treat sarcoidosis by reducing inflammation, corticosteroids are used. As a result, Bernie was prescribed courses of prednisone. However,
bro, what the fuck? These niggas just exploded his heart, bro.
This medication took its toll on Bernie. Most notably, his appearance fluctuated heavily, and his face often appeared bloated in his final years. The medication also worked by suppressing the immune system's response to stop it from faultily attacking Bernie's organs. Although weakening the immune system helped with the side effects of sarcoidosis, it left Bernie immunocompromised and susceptible to infections. Friends say that sets had to be sanitized heavily to try and prevent Bernie from getting colds.
That set, everything was sterilized. You couldn't shake his hand, and they prepped you before you came. Don't shake his hand, don't cough, don't sneeze. If you have to do any of these things, exit the set.
As his immune system was weakened, even the normal common cold could have serious complications for Bernie. Towards the end of his life, Bernie seemed to realize that he needed to slow down. In 2007, on David Letterman, Bernie claimed he was going to retire after his final film was finished. Unfortunately, he never got the opportunity to retire. Like many autoimmune diseases, sarcoidosis goes through cycles of remission and flare-ups. In 2005, thanks to the corticosteroids suppressing his immune system, Bernie reported that the illness was in remission. But the long-term damage had already been done. His lungs had permanent scarring and reduced capacity, and the corticosteroids he was taking were still suppressing his immune system. So when Bernie contracted pneumonia in late July 2008 at 50 years old, his body was very vulnerable. His immune system was weakened by the corticosteroids he was taking, and his lungs were already severely weakened and vulnerable from years of sarcoidosis. But instead of resting, Bernie continued working at a hectic pace. Bernie joked in his comedy about going to the hospital over a minor inconvenience like a nosebleed.
See, black folks don't go to the hospital, somebody in the head with a bat. If I get a nosebleed, what's wrong with put your clothes on and take me to the goddamn hospital?
However, in reality, Bernie was so focused on his work that he ignored his symptoms for the first few days. Eventually, his body forced him to stop. He was unable to fight off the pneumonia, and after experiencing extreme breathlessness and a fever on July 24th, he was rushed to hospital. As his lungs were too weak, doctors quickly put him on a ventilator in the ICU as they worked to treat his pneumonia. Bernie remained in intensive care, hooked up to the ventilator, for over 2 weeks. During this time, he was only
over 2 weeks in ICU, bro. At 50 years old, that's not
semi-conscious at times and could barely communicate. While in the hospital, Bernie was infected with another strain of pneumonia and got double pneumonia. On July 31st, Bernie opened his eyes and pointed to the ventilator machine, indicating he wanted it out, as he felt he could breathe on his own. However, he was too weak to speak, and it seems as though Bernie was being overly optimistic about his recovery. After this, he slipped back out of consciousness and did not wake again until the day before his passing. On August the 8th, Bernie opened his eyes and looked at his wife. She pleaded with him to stay strong.
Please don't die. Please don't die. I said, I'm here. I'm waiting for you. I'll take care of you.
In response, Bernie shrugged his shoulders, indicating he was too weak to continue. A few hours after this, in the early morning of August 9th, he suffered a heart attack. Doctors managed to resuscitate him. However, an hour later, he had yet another heart attack. They were unable to resuscitate Bernie this time. At 2 a.m. on August 9, 2008, Bernie Mac had sadly passed away. His sudden passing shocked the comedy world.
What if I told you that instead of setting up a green screen,
warms my heart that they remember him and love him the way they do. Thank you all so much.
The hardest thing for a black man to do is to be an individual, is to stand on your own and to say what you mean and to not be influenced by anybody, to make your own mind up and your own way. And Bernie Mac was a man, believe me when I tell you. He stood on his own, he said what he believed.
Right up until the end, Bernie was working as tirelessly as ever. The suddenness of it led to all sorts of theories that his passing was not natural. After all, an active 50-year-old man suddenly—
Damn, bro, yeah, he definitely seemed like the type of person where everyone around him, his peers and shit, like, they all, like, really, they fucked with him.
Passing away from pneumonia is surprising.
That's sad.
There are theories that those in Hollywood got rid of Bernie, as he would not play along and conform to Hollywood's expectations.
Actually, on the lap, you're sitting. Did you wait?
No.
It would be her. Abby, isn't Jeremy on the other side? Where am I? I'm gonna show you. Ow! All right, Bernie. He's actually gonna sit on your lap. No. Okay. Do we have another?
Bernie's refusal to conform was evident in his final weeks, with his refusal to tone down his comedy at Obama's fundraiser. Even in front of a presidential candidate and a hostile and heckling audience, Bernie refused to be intimidated. However, there is no evidence of foul play in Bernie's passing. Although Bernie Mac's wife initially sued Bernie's doctor for medical malpractice, she later dropped the lawsuit.
She sent through a lawsuit and then withdrew that bitch? I don't know about that. That's kind of... I feel like that's why you should always know, like, what the fuck you doing before doing something like that, dude. You can't just send a lawsuit and then...
Or his body gave in. His passing was not sudden at all. His body was already ravaged from a decades-long battle with sarcoidosis. So while pneumonia was the official cause of death, the sarcoidosis certainly played a role. Although he was in remission from sarcoidosis in his final years, his lungs were already permanently damaged by inflammation and scarring from the illness. And the immunosuppressant medication he was on to suppress his sarcoidosis and prevent it from returning had further hindered his immune system's ability to combat the pneumonia. Additionally, lots of Bernie's friends and colleagues have spoken about how Bernie was overworked.
You had said that you felt like they worked him to death because he was doing Ocean's 11 at the time?
I believe so, man, because, you know, he told us that, man. He told us that he was doing so much.
This stress and constant working likely damaged his already fragile health. Perhaps Bernie would even find the speculation on his passing funny. In a hilarious comedy set, he even joked about the speculation after someone passes.
Black folks always got some stupid shit to say when a motherfucker died. He died in his sleep. He ain't feel nothing. How the f you know what the f he felt? Like you done died in your sleep a couple of times.
But Bernie Mac's legacy lives on. Despite his illness, Bernie lived life to the fullest. He is remembered as a trailblazer who opened doors for black entertainers.
Bernie was the best of us because he closed our show. Right. Because he was just like, you couldn't follow Bernie because he was a lot, man. He was a lot. And we would all sit backstage by the monitors and we would watch Bernie's set. Because we got to see what he gonna do today, because he never did the same thing twice.
He never compromised who he was, even when Hollywood didn't understand his appeal. Bernie's original style of humor and refreshing authenticity left an indelible mark on comedy. He pioneered a raw, fearless, and authentic style of humor that resonated with audiences of all types. Bernie dared to tackle controversial topics other mainstream comics avoided, with searing social commentary that was ahead of its time. Beyond his professional accomplishments, Bernie Mac was beloved by fellow comedians and actors for his generosity and willingness to help up-and-coming performers. In the years since his untimely passing, the originality of Bernie Mac's stand-up and skits is still cited by contemporary comedians today.
You get when you go after Bernie, it's kind of discouraging because I just heard y'all make more noise than this. I just heard you guys laugh more than this.
His public honesty with his illness sarcoidosis helped bring much needed attention to such a little-known condition that primarily affects African Americans. After his passing, there was an increase in patients getting their symptoms checked out and being diagnosed with sarcoidosis. Mac used his celebrity to help those suffering like him, and one of his lasting legacies is the Bernie
That's a W right there. At least there's some sort of silver lining with him dying.
Mac Foundation. The nonprofit organization strives to erase the stigma around the disease, provide support services to those afflicted, and promote research to find better treatments and a cure. They hold conferences, fund scientific studies, and educate the public through partnerships and media campaigns. While the pain of losing Mac was immense, his openness and the foundation started in his memory means his legacy lives on through increased support and scientific advancement to battle the disease for the 300,000 others diagnosed every year. Mac brought his comedy and strength of spirit to the fight against sarcoidosis while alive. And
damn, so he did a SNL too.
His foundation carries that torch now in his honor. Through all the early hardships,
I think that's gonna be it for that video. Damn, R.I.P. Bernie Mac. Let me know down in the comments if you guys like this video. Let me know also if you've seen any movies with Bernie Mac in it. If you watched the Bernie Mac show, that's a sad situation, but yeah, that's gonna do it for this video though. Fuck with your boy and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, drop down in the comments, follow me on my Kick, the rest of my socials, and I'm gonna see y'all in another video. Peace.